morning all. So today we are going to discuss the rest part of the transmission line. Last class it is only the introductory session for the transmission line and how this transmission line is going to be operated at a high frequency or at low frequency. Now as I have discussed in last class that if you are using for the high frequency transmission, that means the power utilization must be very less. Similarly, if you are going to transmit the potential, maximum potential in terms of 440 volt or 1500 watt or like that power, if you are going to deliver, in that your transmission line is going to deliver only the potential, not the any sort of information. No communication can be done because frequency component is going to be very less in that case. Okay, so today class we will discuss all these features of that transmission line. What are the mediums, how it can be identified, what are the different sort of mediums are there, and how these mediums will come into picture while transforming the information from sending end to the receiver end. So let me discuss first these two figures. So here I have drawn a transmission line, and always remember that if there is a two wire transmission line means it is a single phase. Okay, one phase and one neutral will be there. So let us consider this whole transmission line is a two port network. Okay, it is a two port network. Now in network theory you people have undergone a number of networks. If it is a 3-port network, 2-port network, 4-port network, it depends upon the number of terminals are available. So as per the figure here you can see there are two ports are available, port A and port B. So port A is energized with a generator side. Okay, here we are energizing the lines, we are sending the information toward which direction, toward the load. So in load we will measure what sort of information we are going to deliver at this particular point, and we require a particular medium, and that medium is called as a transmission line. Last class also I have discussed there are various type of transmission lines are there: two wire line, coaxial cable, parallel plate, and microstrip lines. So all those things we will discuss once again, and all those parameters we are going to calculate in today's class if time permits. So this transmission line I have replaced with a coaxial cable. Okay, coaxial cable is having inner conductor, that is a core, and the outer conductor, outer one shield is called as a jacket. So our information is quite safe in that core. So this core is energized here. This is a core. Okay, and this core is energized with a source Vg, that is a generator point. Okay, so this potential when we are going to deliver in this core, it will deliver towards the load terminal, that is called as a ZL. Now how this electric field and magnetic fields are generated, that also we have discussed in the last class. If there are two wire line, how the electric field and magnetic field are going to generate, and if it is a coaxial line, how this electric field and magnetic fields are going to generate. That also we have discussed in the last class. But now we are going to discuss about the medium, how to identify the mediums. Okay, now in the first lecture I have discussed some parameters, I have discussed some mediums, the mediums in which the wave is going to propagate. At the end, what happens when the potential is delivered here, the electric field and magnetic fields are going to be generated, and it will carry my information toward which direction, toward the load direction. Okay, now how to identify those mediums, what are the characteristics, what are the features behind that medium. That medium is identified with the help of these parameters. One is permeability, one is permittivity, and one is conductivity of a medium. Okay, so depend upon these three parameters, the mediums are further classified into certain category. Certain category means, as you can see, the air medium is available, lossless medium is available, lossy medium is available, and good conductor is available. So in these are the certain medium through which the wave can propagate from generator end to the receiver end. Okay, so if I will say air medium means there is no conductivity. Okay, so if there is no conductivity, the sigma value is going to be 0, and the mu value is equals to mu naught, and epsilon value is equals to epsilon naught. These all things already have discussed. Just I am writing all these things for the sake of this identification of medium within the coaxial cable or two wire line, or it is a parallel plate, whatever it is. Okay, if it is a lossless medium, losses will be very less, but losses will be there. So here I have written sigma is equivalent to 0, tends to 0, and epsilon is equals to epsilon 0 into epsilon r, and mu is equals to mu naught. So these are the conditions for lossless medium. Similarly, lossy medium means in which losses will be there. That means sigma is not equals to 0. Sigma value will be there, due to which some potential drop will be there in that particular medium. And epsilon value is equals to epsilon naught into epsilon r, and mu is equals to mu naught into mu r. Similarly, if it is a good conductor means conductivity is very high. That means sigma value is infinite, epsilon is equals to epsilon 0, and mu is equals to mu naught into mu r. So these are the conditions for a different sort of mediums. Now these mediums will help us to identify when the electric field and magnetic field are propagating through that coaxial cable or two-wire line, or different sort of mediums are there. So depend upon this analogy, we will proceed to identify how that electric field and magnetic fields are going to propagate in this different sort of cross section. If it is a coaxial cable, that means cylindrical cross section. If it is a rectangular parallel plate, that means it is a rectangular section. If it is a microstrip line, if it is a parallel plate, these all different sort of analogies are there. And with respect to that, last class also I have discussed there are some lumped parameter model is there. RLGC parameter you can determine. So RLGC parameter means all are distributed uniformly throughout the line. So per unit length it will distribute. And today we are going to discuss all those lumped parameter with respect to different sort of lines. Either it is a coaxial cable, either it is a two-wire line, either it is a parallel plate, or different sort of mediums are there. Okay, so we will discuss with respect to these mediums, and then we will enter to determine the RLGC parameter and what are the wave equation, because anyway here informations are going to be in a form of electric field and magnetic wave. So wave equation is going to come into picture. But the thing is, the wave equation what we have discussed in the first lecture, we have written all those things in terms of time harmonic in nature. Maxwell equations we have selected, Maxwell's equations were derived, and we have identified certain medium. It must be isotropic, it must be homogeneous in nature, and the medium is identified, and then we have formed some Helmholtz equation in terms of electric field and magnetic field. But now here it is potential and current. Here it is RLGC parameter. So here we have to correlate all those things. Same propagation constant, same phase constant, attenuation constant we have to represent in terms of RLGC parameter, because that is the features of a transmission medium. Okay, so we will discuss all those things one by one, step by step. Okay, so here I have drawn few transmission lines through which we can analyze micro strip line. Okay. So here you can see there are different sort of transmission lines are available. Last class we have discussed these all transmission lines, and what are the features are there that we are going to discuss today. So first one is a parallel plate. Okay, so this is one plate and lower one plate, and in between that the dielectric material is available. So upper is a conductor plate, lower one is also a conductor plate. So if it is a good conductor, what is the condition I have shown? Your sigma is infinite, mu is equals to mu naught into mu r, and epsilon naught is equals to epsilon 0. This is the three condition for a conductive medium. Okay, for a conductor, good conductor. So upper plate is one conductor and lower plate is one conductor, and in between those two plates dielectric medium is available. Okay, so dielectric medium is characterized with mu, sigma, epsilon. We do not know what sort of dielectric medium it is, whether it is a lossless, whether it is a lossy, whether it is a air medium, whatever it is. So depend upon those characteristics, this mu, epsilon and sigma value is going to change. If it is a lossless medium, substitute those conditions. If it is a lossy medium, substitute those conditions. But the plates remain as it is because those two plates are conductor. So conductor means sigma must be infinite. So sigma value is there, conductivity is there. Then mu is equals to mu naught into mu r. So that is indicated by mu c. And epsilon is air medium because it is air interface is there, no need to calculate the permittivity value. Okay, so these are the characteristics of a parallel plate. Now what is the characteristic? Width is W and the separation is small d. Now if width is W and small d, it is easy to calculate the capacitance value, parallel plate capacitance. Once this parallel plate capacitance is known, and with the help of transmission line relation, L can also be determined, G can also be determined, and R is also be determined. That means RLGC parameter for this parallel plate can easily determined. That we will discuss. Okay. Next, if it is a two-wire line or if it is more than two-wire line, then how to identify the RLGC parameter for that? If it is a two-wire line, that means it is a single phase line. Means one will be positive, one will be negative. So one will be positive means current will move in this particular direction as a plus I, and if it is comes back I can write as minus I. Okay. So this is plus and this is minus, and depend upon the conductive nature. So conductors are represented with sigma c and mu c, and this is also one conductor, so sigma c and mu c, and between those two conductor medium is there, and that medium is identified with again mu, sigma and epsilon. Okay, so mu, sigma and epsilon is the characteristics of a particular medium. How to identify it? Whether it is a lossless, whether it is a lossy, whether it is a air medium. If depend upon the nature of medium, you need to substitute these values. Okay, but these values remain constant. That sigma c and mu c for a conductor it remain constant. Only the thing is the medium is going to change. If it is a lossless, characteristics will change. If it is a air medium, characteristics is change. If it is a lossy medium, then also characteristics is going to change. Okay. Now comes to this coaxial line. Now coaxial line means inner conductor is having a small radius, let us consider A, and the outer jacket is having a radius small b. So medium is lies between core and the jacket, core and cladding you can say. So the medium which is between core and cladding is identified with mu, sigma and epsilon. But when I will discuss with respect to core and the outer part, is sigma c and mu c is written. Okay, so only the medium is going to change is what? Between core and cladding there is some dielectric mediums will be there, and depend upon the variation of this dielectric value, the whole parameter is going to change, because coaxial capacitance we have already identified in our field theory. In that coaxial capacitance we have derived with respect to some relation of Gauss theorems. Okay, that again we will see how to identify those values. First you need to determine potential, then you have to determine the capacitance C is equals to Q by V, and then you can determine the capacitance of this coaxial cable. Now once this capacitance is known, you can determine the inductance for this particular line, conductance for this particular line, and resistance for this particular line, because all are interrelated with each other. Those relation also we will discuss. Okay. Similarly, now these two are the microstrip line. Okay, let me write this one once again. It may not be visible for you people. So it is a microstrip line. So microstrip line means a ground conducting plate will be there, above one thick substrate will be there which is made up of dielectric, and above that one small metallic plate will be available. Now this is our metallic plate, this is the dielectric slab, and this is the ground conducting plane. Now here how the electric field and magnetic fields are generated. Electric field, if you energize this upper metallic plate, the positive, due to the positive charge, electric fields are moved with respect to from positive to negative. Ground conducting plane is a negatively charged, so all the electric field will generate from metallic strip and terminate in the ground plane. Similarly, if the current flows, the magnetic field is going to identify. So here magnetic field, here I have shown with a dotted line. So magnetic field will be in a circular in nature, and the electric field will be in a radially outward in nature. So this is one Substrate. The substrate is a dielectric slab and dielectric medium is identified with mu, sigma and epsilon. If you change this value, if this dielectric value is lossless, the value is changed. If the substrate value is a lossy medium, then the sigma, mu and epsilon value is changed. And if it is a air medium is not possible. We can go for dielectric lossless and lossy medium. Then only the substrate will come into picture. Okay. Similarly, there is one more configuration of this microstrip line in which upper one ground conducting plane, lower one is one ground conducting plane. Between that dielectric slab is there, and in that dielectric slab one metallic strip we are going to plant. Now when this metallic strip is energized, the electric fields are moving radially outward. Some of the field will move to the upper conducting plate and some of the field will move to the lower conducting plate. And due to the flow of current, the magnetic field will generate in a circular manner. And always remember, when the wave is propagating in a particular direction, it consists of electric field and magnetic field, both are perpendicular to each other. Then only the maximum information we are going to deliver. Otherwise, that Poynting vector does not satisfy. If the electric field and magnetic field both are parallel, that means no power we can transmit. It must be perpendicular to each other. So when the electric field and magnetic field are propagating in a certain direction, that means the total power we are going to deliver, and in that case electric field and magnetic field both must be perpendicular to each other. It must satisfy the Poynting vector. Okay. So these are the configuration of a transmission line. Now we will see how these transmission lines are going to be analyzed with respect to a circuit model, and how that circuit model is analyzed for determination of the wave equation. And with the help of wave equation, the relations we are going to determine, and with the help of those relations we can determine the RLGC parameter for parallel plate line, coaxial cable, two-wire line, coaxial cable, and as well as for this microstrip line. If time permits, we will discuss all these things. Okay. But first, now we will discuss about the circuit model for a transmission line. Okay, and that is called as a lumped parameter circuit model. There are two type of configurations are there. One is lumped parameter and one is distributed parameter. Two analysis are there. One is lumped analysis, one is distributed analysis. If it is a lumped analysis, R, L, C we can determine. But if it is a distributed in nature, we can determine L, G and C. Because since the transmission line used for throughout the cross section, throughout the line, and all the parameters are distributed uniformly, we will prefer for the distributed analysis. So in distribution analysis, in distributive analysis, all parameters are equally spaced. Okay, R, L, G, C. R and L are the series combination and G and C is the parallel combination. This G and C basically identify the dielectric medium present between the two lines, and the lines which are propagating positive value and negative value indicates with respect to the series combination of R and L. That we are going to analyze now. Okay. So here I have drawn few figures that is called circuit model for a two-wire line or two-wire transmission line, in which I have considered two lines. One is connected with the positive terminal of a generator and one is connected with the negative terminal of a generator. And let us consider the length of this line is L. Okay, because anyway the length of the line we are going to discuss, because depend upon the length our wave is going to propagate in a certain direction. Let us consider this whole wave is propagating along z axis. So here I have written z is equals to 0 and z is equals to L. So across z axis I have considered a line whose length is L. Two conductors whose length is L. Now in this figure what we are going to discuss, how this current is flowing in this particular transmission line and what are the features are there. Now you can see this is our generator side. This is a generator end. In this generator it supplies a potential. So with the help of potential current generates and that current is going to flow. So if I am analyzing the current with respect to potential. So that means current is flowing in the upper conductor is taken as a positive and the lower one is taken as a negative, so that negative current is coming in this particular direction after completing the circuit. Okay, so the incident direction, if I will choose toward load, this is my load at which I am going to identify what is the output we are going to observe. So the current which is moving in a forward direction of positive Z, that I will say called, it is called incident current. Okay, remember this term, it is called incident current. Incident current means the current which is moving towards the load from generator end to load end. Similarly, when the current return back to the generator end from the load to generator, now this current I will call as a reflected current, because this term plays a vital role, because this itself indicates the direction of the wave propagating in positive direction or a reverse direction. If it is a positive, I will identify as a plus Z. If it is a reflected, I will identify as a minus Z direction. Okay, and when the current cross through this ZL, the output potential we are measuring as VL. Okay, that is first. Second, now you can see Z is equals to 0 and Z is equals to L. So that means my potential and current is varies with respect to the position. Let us consider there are three positions are there. Position 1, position 2 and position 3. This is P1, P2 and P3. Now these are conductors. It depends upon conductivity. It depends upon resistivity of a particular medium. Now if you increase the length, as we have a relation R is equals to rho L by A. If you change the length, your resistance value is going to change. So at this point the length is less. At this point the length is more with respect to 0.1. At this particular point the length is more with respect to 0.1 and 0.2. So if the length increases, your resistive value is increases. If the resistive value increases, potential drop will be more. So that means if you change the position of in a transmission line and measure what is the output, if you increase the length, the resistive value is going to increase. If the resistive value is going to increase, your potential drop is going to identify. Potential drop is going to increase. If potential is increase, current is also going to hamper, because if it is in a propagating in a particular medium, a conductive medium, the electrons will move from this point to this point, so that current will move from in opposite direction, in a positive direction, that is plus Z. So my explanation is, when I am delivering some information, the information rate is going to change with respect to the length. So that is the conclusion. So if you change the position from 0 to L, your potential is changed, current is also changed. What I will write? I will write V of Z and I of Z. That means potential and current both are dependent on a length. If the length change, Z indicate the length. So I have written Z is a function of V as a function of Z and I is also a function of Z. So if you change the function, here Z is independent variable but V and I are the dependent variable. So if you change the value of Z, your potential and current is going to change. So that is the concept behind the two-wire line, or when it is used for the transmission purpose. So with respect to length, your potential and current is going to change. So at Z is equals to 0, whatever the potential and current we have identified, it may not be same when it is Z is equals to L. It may be more or it may be less due to some attenuation factor or due to some sort of reason. So it may not be same. So whatever the current I will get, I will measure with respect to this ZL. So this is the circuit model for two-wire line transmission line, or it is called as a two-wire transmission line. It is a circuit model, and this circuit model and this thing we have discussed in the last class, that in series we have R and L combination in both the conductor, and between those two conductors the dielectric medium is identified with capacitance and conductance. So that analogy we are going to identify now. But before that, we need to see which sort of electromagnetic wave is going to propagate. Now here, last class I have shown how that electric field and magnetic field both are propagating. Now, there are three type of transverse electric field is there, transverse magnetic field and transverse electromagnetic field. If it is a transverse electric field, that means only electric field is going to propagate in that medium. If it is a transverse magnetic mode, means mode of transmission, if I will say, there are three type of modes: TE, TM and TEM. Okay, so TE means only electric field is going to transmit, only information is delivered with respect to electric field. Okay, and transverse magnetic field mode means only with respect to magnetic field we are going to transmit our information. And TEM means in this both electric field and magnetic field helps to deliver my information. So in two-wire line we have seen in the last class that how that electric field and magnetic field are propagating. Okay, so those electric field and magnetic field, if it is propagated at the same time period, then I will say my mode of transmission is TEM. The waves which are going to transmit with the help of this transmission line, it is TEM wave. Whether you go for coaxial cable, whether you go for two-wire line, whether you go for three-wire line, whether you go for parallel plate, whether you go for strip line, all are working in transverse electromagnetic mode, because with the help of electric field and magnetic field our whole information is going to traverse in a certain direction. So in this transmission line, this working in a TEM mode. So TEM field, when we are identifying, that means electric field and magnetic field both are there. So how we will relate with respect to potential and current? With the help of this Maxwell equation, these two relations are identified. First relation is V is equals to E dot dl minus E dot dl. It is called as the energy conservation law. So here potential is related with respect to electric field. That means when the potential is given to this line, electric fields were interrelated with each other. Okay. Now when due to the potential current, when it is flows, due to the presence of current, magnetic fields are interrelated. So I will write I is equals to H dot dl or J dot ds. Here this is nothing but it is Ampere circuit law. Ampere's circuit law. Okay, and this is energy conservation law. So with the help of these two relations, we are going to derive the wave equation for this transmission line. Okay, so that is these are the two basic equations which require for this circuit model for the two-wire transmission line. So these two equations help us to relate the potential and current in terms of electric field and magnetic field. Now in first class we have seen that how that waves are interrelated with each other. Electric field and magnetic field. We have derived the wave equation as del square E minus gamma square E, both are S, is equals to 0, and del square Hs minus gamma square Hs is equals to 0. So this is the Helmholtz equation we have derived for the wave when it is propagating in a free space medium. But now it is a conductive medium. In conductive medium, potential and current is going to travel, and that too it is having some sort of lumped parameter, RLGC parameter. So whatever the equation we have derived in terms of E and H, now we have to represent in terms of V and I. So that is the basic analogy behind these two relations why we are using. Now we have to represent the wave equation in terms of potential and current. Okay, and this gamma square will be related in terms of RLGC parameter, that we will see. It is a very good one. Okay, so before entering to the analysis, we have two different analyses. Why these two different analyses I am discussing, I will tell. Now as in the last class we have seen that RLGC parameter are the four basic parameter for a particular transmission line, whether it is a coaxial cable, whether it is a two-wire line, whether it is a parallel plate, whether it is a microstrip line, whatever it is. Our RLGC are the four basic parameters. But before that, if it is a lumped circuit analysis is done, or if it is a distributed circuit analysis, now whenever this information is given for identify the wave equation for a transmission line, then we are preferring the distributed one. Why? Because our RLGC are uniformly distributed throughout the line. Lumped parameter is only with RLNC. So this is the RLC parameter. Whenever we are going to transmit the information, we first discuss what is the length of a particular line. And when we are discussing the length of a particular line, we discuss about the wavelength. So what sort of wavelength must be there? If the wavelength is very very less, that means frequency component is high and my communication will be done. And if the wavelength is very very high and frequency is less, that means potential we are going to deliver no information, only the power transmission is done in that particular case. Okay, so here I have used L is very very less than lambda. So if the length is very very less than lambda, that means it indicates what? The length of the transmission line is very very less than the wavelength. Wavelength means potential is high. So when the potential is high, that means only the three parameters come into picture. What are the three parameters? R, L and C. So these are the three parameters will come into picture when if I am using the length of a transmission line less than the wavelength. So if the less than the wavelength means wavelength is high, frequency is less. So that means it is basically used for the power transmission. Okay, so it is understood. So if it is condition is there will be no change of potential and current for any point of Z, because distance is less. At any point if you measure same thing, you are going to measure potential and current. Next, there is no reflected signal, no standing wave. There is no reflected signal, only power distribution is there. Okay, in one way direction. And the loved parameter is R, L and C. R is basically identified for the energy dissipation. Okay, L indicates basically used to store the magnetic energy, because we form a relation half Li square. So that is the magnetic energy is stored in that particular line. And C indicates the energy stored, electric energy stored, because capacitance is equals to epsilon naught dA by d, and it is basically used to store the charge of a particular medium. So it is half CV square we are going to identify. So that is called as a electric energy is stored. This is magnetic energy stored, and R indicates the energy dissipation. Now, our main motive is to deliver the information. Information means communication process. So communication process when we are using for this two-wire line, that means my length okay. Sorry for the interruption. So here, now I am going to transmit the information. So information means your length of a transmission line must be greater than the wavelength. If the wavelength is less, your frequency is going to be very very high. So L must be very very greater than lambda. So when L is very very greater than lambda, it is used for the communication purpose. Okay. So the two-wire line, the series is a combination of R and L, and the medium between the two conductor is basically identified with capacitance and conductance. So here the lambda parameter will be identified with R, L, G and C. So it is only come into picture when your length of a transmission line is very very greater than wavelength. So that means the length is basically used to transmit the information in which frequency is very very high, wavelength is very very less, and reflected signal will be there, because length increases means reflected signal will be there, power losses will be there, and dispersive effect. Dispersive effect is due to the change in the phase velocity. As the distance increases, the velocity of information is also deteriorate. So for that, in order to reboost it, we are using the repeaters. In our communication, we have discussed the repeaters. The repeaters are placed at a equidistance, at a particular equidistance from transmitter end to receiver end. If it is 100 kilometer, at a distance of 10 kilometer, I will put one repeater, so that it will reconstruct the original signal. So we will use this distributed circuit analysis, because in which all four parameters are available, and basically used for communication purpose and used for in a high frequency mode. Since we are using for the microwave transmission, frequency component is very very high, so wavelength is very very less, so length is very very greater than lambda. So with the help of this analogy, we will derive all those equations with the help of this two-wire line model, and that is called as a lumped parameter model. Okay. Okay. So here you can see that I have drawn the equivalent circuit for a differential length. That means small part of this particular line is represented in the lumped parameter R, L, G and C. Now R, L, G and C are uniformly distributed per unit length. So in order to analyze in an electrical elements, we have to multiply del Z to it. For example, if R is ohm per meter, so that means in order to form as a resistive value, what I will do, I will multiply R into del Z so that your unit will become ohm and it will become as a resistive value. So what I have multiplied? Del Z, because in this the wave is propagating along Z direction, so incremental length I have took as a del Z. Similarly, L into Z, so it will become Henry. Similarly, G into del Z, it will become Siemens, and C into del Z, it will become Farad. Now all these elements will become as electrical elements, and now we can analyze the circuit analysis for this lumped parameter model. And when we analyze this circuit, we will get two equations. Those two equations are called as a telegrapher equation, or you can say it is called transmission line equations. Okay. Now let's see how we can analyze this. So with the help of this consideration, if you apply KVL, first is using KVL. Okay. So using KVL, I will write. So there is only one loop is there, one complete loop is there. So for that, I will write V of Z comma T. Now here, why I have took as a T? Because here I am considering with respect to time domain. Okay. So V, Z comma T. Two variables are there. One is along the direction and one with respect to time period. So V, Z comma T minus I of Z comma T R into del Z, because potential drop across resistance is I into R. Then minus L into del Z. So potential drop across inductance is L into di by dt. So here I will write L del Z del I of Z comma T by del T. Done. Then here, what is the potential across this parallel line? The potential drop across this is minus V of Z plus del Z comma T. Now why I have considered Z plus del Z? Because incremental length. After del Z, what will be the potential? So as I have told, if the distance change, potential drop is also going to change. So this is my change, which is equals to 0. So this is the complete loop. Now I will rearrange this equation. How I will rearrange? Let's see. Take minus sign outside. V of Z plus del Z comma T minus V of Z comma T, and from this you take del Z common and divide with respect to the left hand side, and rest of the part take the right hand side. So here I will write R into I of Z comma T plus L del of I of Z comma T by del T. So this is my equation. So what I have done, I have took these two parameter right hand side, del Z common, rearranging this factor, take the del Z to denominator. So this will look as, and here I will put that incremental length is tends to 0. So if I will put this limit, it is nothing but a differential value with respect to del Z. So what I will write? I will write minus del of V of Z comma T by del Z, which is equals to R into I of Z comma T plus L into del of I of z comma t by del z. So this is the first equation. Okay, this is the first equation. What? The voltage in terms of current. So this is the first telegrapher equation or first transmission line equation, which form a relation. It is a time domain representation, voltage in terms of current. Now current in terms of voltage also we can represent, that indicates the second transmission line equation. How we can identify? By applying the KCL at node A. Then only we can determine the current relation. So using KCL at A, means at node A. So in this you can see the input current is I of z comma t, and the two output currents are I of z comma z plus del z comma t, and here it is del I. So I will rearrange this one. I will write I of z comma t minus I of z plus del z comma t minus del I is equals to 0. Done. Now what I will do, I will rearrange this. I will write I of z plus del z comma t minus I of z comma t is equals to del I. Like this I can write. Now what is my del I? Now del I will calculate with respect to these two values. Okay. So del I will write in terms of conductance and capacitance. So here I will write del I is equals to current across these two. So what I will write? G into del Z into V of Z plus del Z comma t, because G into V will become as a current, plus here C into del Z, and what is the current across capacitance? C into dV by dt. So here I will write del of V plus del Z comma t divided by del t. Now this will be in the form of del Z. Here del Z take common and divide with respect to this value. So here I will write del Z. In place of this del I can write G V of Z plus del Z comma t plus C into del V of Z plus del Z comma t del divided by del t. Done. Now what we have to do? Again here limit del Z tends to 0, because that incremental length is very small. It is tends to 0. So both this side I will take limit del Z tends to 0. Now if you take this del Z tends to 0, the equation we will get, 1 minute. So the equation we will get as minus del of Z comma t divided by del Z. In this del Z is 0, so here I will write G into V of Z comma t plus C into del V of Z comma t by del t. So this is my equation for current in terms of potential. Okay, so these are the two equations for transmission line. These two equations are in time domain, and these two equations are also called as telegrapher equation. So I will write neatly this equation so that you can form the relation and we can proceed further. So first one, using KVL, what we have got? Minus del V of Z comma t by del Z, which is equals to R into I of z comma t plus L into del I of z comma t by del t. So this is the first telegrapher equation. Second is what? Current del of I comma z by del z is equals to G into V z of t plus C into del V of z comma t by del t. So this is the second telegrapher equation. Now these two equations are need to be analyzed in terms of wave equation. Now wave equation will be represented in terms of time independent quantity. Time independent quantity means we have to remove this time domain and convert into a frequency domain. So there is a simple relation is there. This thing already you have known in wave theory how this time domain is going to be represented. Okay, so here I will write V of z comma t real of Vs of z e to the power j omega t. So this is the relation, instantaneous value with respect to time varying quantity, and I of z comma t, this I can write real of Is of z e to the power j omega t. Now whatever the function we have written in terms of time domain, you have to convert into a frequency domain, phasor form, independent of time. So here Vs of z and Is of z is independent of time. So that is called phasor form. And if you multiply e to the power j omega to this phasor, you will get the instantaneous form, time dependent function. Okay. And this del by del t, if you take a Fourier transform, it will become as a j omega. So now we need to convert this particular value in a phasor form. Then only we can proceed for the wave equation. Okay. Now here I will write equations written in phasor form. Okay. Phasor form. How it is look like as a phasor form? Here V z comma t, this I can write minus dVs of z by dz. Partial differentiation will become differential value. Second, R, this Is of z done, plus L del I by del t. So del by del t is j omega. Okay, and I of s, it will become Is of z. If you rearrange this, minus dVs of z by dz is equals to R plus j omega L Is into z. So this is the first equation, equation number 3. This is 2. So this equation is a phasor form of first telegrapher equation. Okay, it is a time independent function. Similarly, for current, minus dIs of z by dz, because I of z comma t is represented with Is of z. So here I have written partial differentiation will become differential value, which is equals to G into Vs of z plus C into del by del t j omega Vs of z. Done. So here I can write minus dIs of z by dz G plus j omega C into Vs of z. So this is the fourth equation. Fourth equation means it is a phasor form of equation 2. Now with the help of this two phasor equation, we have to derive the wave equation. Okay. Now if I will differentiate, I need to determine the wave equation. Wave equations are written in terms of del square Es minus gamma square Es is equals to 0, and del square Hs minus gamma square Hs is equals to 0. These two are wave equation for electric field and magnetic field. Now, the electric field need to be represented in terms of voltage, and magnetic field need to be represented in terms of current. And then only we will say the equations represented in terms of RLGC parameter for a transmission line. So when we discuss with transmission line, we have to represent the wave equation in terms of voltage and current rather than electric field and magnetic field. How? Let's see. Now for example, if I will differentiate this equation once again with respect to z, both these sides. So what I will get? Differentiating equation 3 and 4 with respect to z. Okay. So first one, if I will differentiate, I will get d square Vs of z by dz square. Okay. Left hand side. Right hand side, what we will get? R plus j omega L dis of z by dz. So this is the first equation. Similarly, if I will differentiate this, I will get d square is of z by dz square, and this one g plus j omega c dvs of z by dz. Okay. Now this equation we have to represent only with respect to voltage. Now what it is? dis of z by dz is this much. Substitute this quantity here. dvs of z by dz, the quantity is this. Substitute this value here. We will get the same constant value in terms of potential and in terms of current. Once it is done, that means already we have generated the wave equation in terms of potential and current. Okay. Now let's see how this wave equation will looks. I will write in red so that it will discriminate. So this first equation is minus d square Vs of z by dz square, which is equals to R plus j omega L, and dis of z by dz is how much? It is g plus j omega c minus d minus Vs of z, because this minus will come to this side. Done. So this minus and this minus will become plus sign. So minus minus cancelled out. Now this is the constant value. Then this is the first one. I have substituted this value with respect to this. I have substituted this. Similarly, now I am going to substitute this value in this particular position. So if I will substitute, I will get d square is of z by dz square, same R plus j omega L and g plus j omega c into is of z. See. So now this equation we have represented in terms of voltage. This equation is represented in terms of current. So let us consider this equation is 5 and this equation is 6. Then in these two equations, these two values are constant. Now this constant is called the propagation constant. I will write gamma square is equals to R plus j omega L g plus j omega c. So this is my propagation constant, and this propagation constant is R plus j omega L g plus j omega c root over, and this propagation constant is equals to alpha plus j beta, because it is a complex term. If you solve this, you will get one real part and imaginary part. This real part is called as attenuation. Attenuation. attenuation constant, okay, whose unit is Nepper per meter, whose unit is Nepper per meter, and beta is phase constant, phase constant, whose unit is radian per meter. So this factor is similar to this. Here we have written in terms of omega, sigma and epsilon. Here we have written in terms of RLGC parameter. Okay, it is with respect to wave. It is with respect to wave in transmission line. So transmission line parameters will come into picture. So RLGC terms. So propagation constant, I will substitute here. It will become as a wave equation. So, if propagation constant gamma is a complex term, it will have two values. One is real part, one is imaginary part. The real value is called as attenuation constant. Imaginary part is called as a phase constant, whose unit is radian per meter and Nepper per meter. Now, substitute this value. So, I will get d square Vs of z by dz square gamma square into Vs of z, d square Is of z divided by dz square, then gamma square Is of z. So these two equations are called as wave equation, or we can say it is called Helmont equation in terms of RLGC parameter. This is Is of z, because gamma already we have represented in terms of RLGC. So R plus j omega L and G plus j omega C. So this is the propagation constant. Now these two equations are quite similar to this or not? Yes, it is similar. What is the difference? Difference is, this is we have represented in terms of Vs, here we have represented in terms of Es. Here we have represented in terms of Is, here we have represented in terms of Hs. That means magnetic field is related with current, electric field is related with potential. And what is the common thing? Gamma square. What is the gamma square? Gamma is indicate the propagation constant. Propagation constant depends upon what? 4 RLGC parameters. R plus j omega L and G plus j omega C. So next class we are going to discuss the rest of the part. This is the transmission line equation. Rest of the part, what are the RLGC parameter for different cross section, that we will discuss. Okay. So for the time being, we'll wind up at this point. Next class we are going to discuss about the RLGC parameter for different mediums. Either it is a coaxial line, either it is a 2-wire line, either it is a 3-wire line, or it is a parallel plate, depend upon the cross section. Okay. Thank you all.